Hello, everyone. A big welcome and thank you all for joining us today for this collaborative webinar hosted by Queclink and 3Dtracking. My name is Jenny from the Queclink marketing team. We're truly excited to see so many of you joining us today. To make sure everything is working properly, please click the raise hand button if you can hear us. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to leave them in the chat box. Our panelists from the Queclink and the 3Dtracking will be monitoring the chat and are ready to assist you. We will also have a dedicated Q&A session after our speaker's presentation, so you are welcome to ask questions then as well. Today, we will be diving into the topic of the evolution of the dashcam, the next generation of all-in-one fleet and video telematics solutions. Before we get started, allow me to introduce our distinguished speakers. Vernon, the UK and the EU sales director at Queclink, who has been deeply involved in the telematics field for over 2 decades. Vernon's extensive experience and insights will provide us with a comprehensive view of the current and future landscape of video telematics. Next, we have Rudy, the product manager at 3Dtracking. Rudy is an experienced technical specialist with a demonstrated history of working in the information technology and service industry for years. His insights will be invaluable in understanding how to leverage the software in conjunction with our technology in the video telematics field. Next, we have Travis, the Senior Technical Support Engineer at Queclink, and Evan, the Telematics Software Product Specialist at 3Dtracking. Travis and Ivo are here to help answer your questions along the way, so I encourage everyone to engage actively during the session. You can ask any questions you want and share your thoughts and make the most of this opportunity to connect with the industry experts. Next, I will hand over to Vernon. He will firstly give us a brief introduction about our company, Queclink. Vernon.
Great stuff, Jimmy. Thank you so much for that warm introduction, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you wherever you are in the world today. Thank you very much for making the time to join us today. We truly appreciate it, and we're honored to have you with us. As Jenny said, I want to give you just a quick overview of Queclink. So we're a publicly listed company on the Chinese Stock Exchange with about a $1.4 billion market cap. To date, we've delivered over 24 million telematics devices and products worldwide, and that to a customer base of around 3,800. We operate in around 140 countries. It's a little bit more than that now. And we have a compound annual growth rate of around 55%, which if you consider the tumultuous last couple of years we've had with COVID, etc., that's quite an impressive figure. So we are a large growing entity. We have about 500 plus employees in the business, and roughly 60 of those are engineers, which is a little different to most of our competitors. Most of them are skewed towards the sales arena, but we focus on engineering. And as I say, around 60% of our workforce are engineers, which is indicative of our drive to engineer and create the best products for you, our customers. And then finally, I've always said the measure of a good telematics company is what they spend on research and development. And we're absolutely at the forefront of that. We operate 3 state-of-the-art research and development centers in China. I've had the pleasure of visiting them, and I can assure you the interior of these buildings, it's like something out of Star Wars. I'm going to ask Rudy now just to give you a little bit of an overview on our partner 3Dtracking. Rudy, over to you.
Thank you very much, Vernon, and thank you, Jenny, for the kind introduction. Good day, everyone. My name is Rudy Grobler, and I'm the product manager here at 3Dtracking. Today, I'm also joined by our product specialist, Ivan. We appreciate you setting the time aside for this webinar, and we hope you will find the information in today's webinar beneficial to your business. To give everyone some background on our company, 3Dtracking are about to exit our teenage years with almost 20 years of experience in the telematics market. We offer white label telematics service software services globally. We operate in over 120 countries where we process over 450 million records per day. Here at 3D Tracking, we understand the complex challenges our customers face across multiple verticals, and we strive to live by our motto, making telematics easy and seamless. Whether it's migrating your entire fleet or finding a solution to your complex challenges, we are here for you. When you're working with 3D Tracking, you will have a dedicated account manager, ensuring that you get the attention you deserve. Our multilingual account managers and support are located throughout the world, ensuring you can get the best possible service and one-on-one support, making us your #1 global telematics platform. With us, you don't have to worry about making backups of your telematic data. After a few months, as per other platforms, we do not delete your data and provide unlimited historic telematic data for your fleet. Yet again, another factor setting us apart from the rest. As a device agnostic white labeled solution, our teams are always at work incorporating the latest telematics devices and creating user-friendly solutions. And that's why we are here today, to demonstrate the new generation video telematics solution on our platform. Back to you, Vernon.
Lovely. Thanks for that, Rudy. I'd just like to talk everybody through the current market trends for video telematics. Now, first and foremost, AI-powered video telematics, and that's kind of the buzzword that's been going around for a while now. What does that actually mean? Well, what it is, it's removing the need for human review to identify patterns within telematics. Basically, if you think about it, and to put this into context, if you had a fleet of around 50 vehicles and each vehicle was generating 4 video clips a day, which, believe me, is very, very little, that would be roughly 1,000 videos a week for one person to watch. So you would need a massive transport department to actually stay on top of video footage for a relatively small fleet. So with AI-powered video analysis, we've got computers doing all the reviewing for us, and we can literally, well, they can review thousands and thousands of videos literally within minutes rather than days or weeks, as it would be if humans were doing it. The next trend we're seeing is dual-facing and multi-camera dashcam solutions. So dual-facing has become increasingly popular because operators wanted to link the driver's face to events. So you may well have seen, for example, a braking event in a legacy telematics solution, but you wouldn't have any idea as to why that happened. If you then had the driver's face on video and could see it synced at the same time as the event, it may well be that he was distracted. It may well be that he was fatigued. It adds context to the actual telematics event. Driver coaching, safety and engagement. So on top of the old legacy metrics you used to get from telematics like speeding, cornering, etc., video telematics now brings a whole bunch of new metrics into the fold, enabling far more accurate driver scoring and coaching. Think about things like distraction, fatigue monitoring, as I mentioned earlier on. The next trend we're seeing is safety and engagement. There's a growing focus on road safety at the moment, especially within urban centres, as central and local governments target the protection of cyclists and other vulnerable road users. Initiatives such as the Direct Vision Standard in London are driving the adoption of intelligent cameras amongst commercial vehicle fleets. And then automation of the telematics process. What does that mean? Well, I think what it means is we will start to see telematics handling and triggering a lot more of what goes on in the background. So linking things, for example, like training, compliance, vehicle usage, working hours, that type of thing. AI technology will be taking on most of the work that was previously done, again, by humans. And then finally, technology integrations. Well, what we're seeing at the moment is video-enabled telematics being integrated with complementary products and systems to target greater value and return on investment. We're seeing the video telematics platforms now triggering those other systems, reducing man hours and obviously increasing return on investment. Good example of this, lone worker protection, triggered training, so driver training based on actual events. mileage capture, and mobile phone prevention. So the prevention of using mobile phones. But we'll talk about that in some slides to come. So those are the current trends at the moment. But where are things going? These are the things that we've seen to date, or in effect, the evolution of the dashcam. So in terms of emergence and rapid adoption, I think it's really important to take ourselves back in time. As Jenny said, I've been in telematics now for more than 20 years. And if I go back in my head 10 years, video telematics didn't exist. And if you consider that there's going to be, it's predicted there'll be around 11.3 million systems in operation by 2027. That is a staggering amount of growth within a very short space of time. The very first connected camera was actually a dash camera. So as we talk about evolution, I've put in here from dash cams to MDVRs. The first connected dash camera came out, but then there was a requirement for the larger, more complex systems that go onto heavy goods vehicles, etc., to also be connected. And that required a great big shoebox size device that went under the seat of or in the driver's cab of a truck to actually connect all the various different cameras around that truck and transmit that information across. But what we're seeing now is a little bit of a switch back from MDVR to dashcam. And why is that? Well, I think the big trigger for it has been the advancements in processing power and capabilities of the dash camera. The ability for dash cameras to now have more than one channel. So we talked about that driver-facing camera. What about other cameras as well? And then the other thing that we've seen is dash cameras becoming an all-in-one fleet telematics product. So before, what we tended to see was people would have a legacy telematics box that was installed deep within the dash of the vehicle, and you would have your video telematics camera that were doing two separate jobs, and somewhere behind the scenes, people were stitching the two together. What we're seeing now is the capability within cameras to actually do the whole job. And that's one of the points we're going to discuss in this webinar a bit later on. So I won't say anything more on that until we get to those slides. In terms of where we see things going, I think these are going to be the main requirements in the future. So sensor monitoring. Think of things like PTO. So you've got great big trucks with grab arms or loading panels at the back, etc. Being able to connect to that and peripherals in vehicles combined with AI object recognition will really enhance safety. So if you think about it, video telematics systems would be able to identify a risk if an arm or a grab arm was about to be used, and you could identify a pedestrian in the way or something like that. Think about things like load bay monitoring for theft when people are breaking into the back of a vehicle, for example. The other thing I think we're going to see a great demand for is connectivity of the devices. So I think connectivity will transform the role of the dashcam. Wireless connectivity or using Bluetooth perhaps would enable supplementary devices or even other cameras to be connected into a vehicle without cables, making an installation that much simpler, and the ability to simply add plug and play cameras into a video telematics solution. I think we're going to see more of that in the next couple of years. And then edge computing. So basically, this is what I spoke about earlier on. Improvements in processing power will lead to much faster and more efficient on-device processing. In other words, everything will happen in the device, in the vehicle. And this will lead to better interactions with the driver. So as events are about to occur, or even the future, if events could be predicted before they occur, the driver could obviously be alerted by the device in the vehicle. Continued advancements in AI algorithms will definitely lead to improved object detection, better understanding of all driving scenarios, and maybe even predictive warnings, as I said earlier on. I think these are the future trends that we're going to see. What I wanted to do today was, I know we've had a webinar previously with 3Dtracking where we introduced the camera. That was at the beginning of this year, if I'm not mistaken. I wanted to just recap on the camera and its capabilities, if I may. So the camera we're going to talk about today is obviously the CV200 series dashcam. I'll fly through those bullet points very quickly. Compact, elegant design it is. It's a very nice looking unit, very small, very neat, very compact. Out the box, it's a full 1080p HD live streaming device. It has a very low cost entry point. The camera has done phenomenally well in the marketplace over the last couple of months based on its performance, its reliability, and its cost. There is a great path to increase your sales revenue with the ability to add functions like DMS, ADAS, secondary channels, driver identification. We'll talk about all of those things in a while, but it makes a great product for an entry-level customer who's never really had video telematics before. They can start off with a basic camera, and as time goes by, you can add to that, or they can add to that and increase your sales revenue. DMS and ADAS, as I said, those are features within the device. We're going to talk about those in a short while as well. And then, as I said before, true telematics from a dash cam. We're seeing phenomenal results from this camera in terms of it being a tracking unit as well as a camera. And then it's based on Android technology, which doesn't sound too involved, but believe me, I think it's one of the camera's USPs. And the reason for that is with Android technology, the camera is essentially always awake. And what that means is it can come live in a few seconds and start capturing footage. I was always asked, common scenario, I've parked my van in a car park. Somebody's reversed into it while I was away from it. Can I get the footage? In the old days, we would have to say no, because the cameras generally took about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes to actually boot up. With this camera, as I say, within 3 seconds, it's up and running and taking footage. Think of that scenario I mentioned earlier on where you've got somebody breaking into the back of a vehicle, for example. If you've got a load bay camera in there monitoring your goods in the back of the van, as that door is prized open, the camera comes live and captures footage of the thief in action. Just a little bit more on that tracking capabilities then. So we've obviously, as if it was a normal legacy telematics device, you've got your real-time tracking information, starts, stops, journey replays, location, etc. We'll look at that in more detail when Rudy goes through the platform a bit later on. In terms of, sorry, my button is not working. Driver behavioral management. So as I said before, you've got all those traditional metrics, harsh cornering, harsh braking, but you've now got all the additional video telematics metrics on top of that. If we look at the video telematics capability of the camera itself then, as I said before, forward-facing 1080p, your standard telematics in there. It does have some other features, for example, SOS button on it. It has the ability to transmit speech as well, and then obviously collision detection, on-demand video, and live streaming as well. In terms of the secondary cameras, there's a good selection. I've only put 4 on here, but there are a couple of others as well. You've got things like passenger and internal cab monitoring cameras. Obviously your driver-facing camera as well. You've got the option to go with load bay or cargo monitoring cameras, rear collision capture cameras as well, and then finally the enhanced driver behavioral monitoring, which comes through the DMS camera. Now that's the bottom left-hand camera on the screen there. Traditionally, I might as well mention it now, these DMS cameras were quite chunky and were more suited to sort of the larger heavy goods vehicles. The new generation cameras are literally tiny, probably a little bit bigger than a cigarette lighter if you want to get some context in size. Phenomenal performance as well. Talking about that DMS then, so the enhanced driver behavioral management, you have the DMS camera, which can be fitted on the A-pillar of a vehicle, so nice and neat out the way. The size of it lends itself now to any vehicle. So a passenger car, a light commercial vehicle, or even a heavy goods vehicle. And what are you going to pick up with that device? These are the types of incidents you're going to pick up. So things like smoking, yawning, distraction, phone usage, which is a big thing, and now also seatbelt monitoring. So are you wearing a seatbelt or not? These are the functions captured by the DMS camera. I also very quickly wanted to touch on the product configurability. The feedback we've had from all of our customers using the camera is that it's probably the most configurable camera that they've ever come across. I'm showing you here a tiny snippet of the options in terms of configuration for this camera. You can literally take the product and make it your own. You might want to have audible alerts, for example, with certain driving events. You might not want to have audible alerts. You may want to capture that footage and send it straight to the cloud. You may not. All of these options are available to you within the configuration suite of the camera. So let's talk a little bit more then about that camera versus a legacy telematics device. So not only do you get all the video telematics capabilities I've just spoken about, these are the other things that you can now get through this one versatile camera. Driver identification via a key fob, which obviously you can issue to your drivers. Temperature control, door monitoring, so temperature monitoring, door switches, etc. Again, traditionally that was legacy telematics units only. We have a range of Bluetooth accessories that will now deliver temperature, humidity, and door switches. Immobilization. Think of that in conjunction with the driver identification. You can now immobilize the vehicle only activating by use of the correct driver fob. So your driver won't be able to drive away in the vehicle until he's identified himself. And then the other thing that we're going to talk a little bit more about today, and one of the main reasons for this webinar, is the ability to connect to the CAN of the vehicle, so CAN bus integration. Again, via Bluetooth, you see the device on the screen there. It has non-intrusive cables, so it can click cables effectively. The device is put into the dash of the vehicle, links with the camera via Bluetooth, and you're able to get CAN information, which we'll look at in the next slide. Stolen vehicle recovery. Now you might be going, how can you possibly have that with a camera? Well, you can. What we've done is we've linked our very trusted stolen vehicle recovery solution to our camera. Obviously, I'm not going to go into too much detail about how that works. A lot of people always said to me, well, it's pointless trying to get your telematics out of a camera because if a vehicle's stolen, they'll rip the camera out and throw it on the side of the road. The first thing I would say is I wouldn't buy a camera for stolen vehicle recovery, but I have to eat my words now because we've built that solution. So stolen vehicle recovery is in the fold as well. And then finally, even tire pressure monitoring. So we have Bluetooth tire pressure monitoring systems that can link into the camera. And obviously these are then delivered, the information is delivered onto the platform. So if you look at it holistically, we can actually deliver everything that a legacy telematics unit would have been able to do via the dash camera, which is quite a step forward. In terms of that CAN bus integration, as I said, there's the device, connects via Bluetooth, mounted into the dash of a vehicle, non-intrusive CAN connections, so no cutting and splicing of wires. And the information that you'll get out of it is fuel monitoring and fuel consumption. Again, I'm not going to steal Rudy's thunder. We'll go through that in more detail when we look at what comes through on the platform. Fault codes, so DTCs and fault codes, again, used to be something you could only get out of a traditional telematics unit. We can now deliver that through the camera and this module. And then odometer readings. So legacy telematics units always used to use GPS mileage, which was inaccurate for many different reasons. This now gives you true odometer reading, which is crucial for a lot of fleet operators today. So out of one unit, you are now getting literally everything you possibly need out of the CAN of the vehicle. Now, it's great having all of this hardware and its capabilities, but it's nothing if it's not underpinned by a fantastic software solution. So my work here is done. I'm now going to hand over to Rudy to talk you through the 3D platform and the phenomenal integration that they've done using our camera.
Thank you very much, Vernon. Just let me know if you see my screen.
I can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, everyone. Yeah, like Vernon said, we have covered the camera a little bit in the I think it was end of last year when we did that webinar. But I also want to recap just a few things that we've done in the meantime regarding the camera. Again, when you log on to your platform, you will meet your device and directly from the tracking page, you can initiate a live stream. So I'm doing this live. So let's hope the internet gods are on my side. Yes, they are. And here we can see we actually took this unit from the vehicle. Of course, we got basement parking, so it's actually sitting on our offices, and you're actually looking at the back of Table Mountain there. The feature we've included on here is we've listened to our partners, and they've complained that some people keep this live stream open the whole time. So what we've built in a timer. You can see here there's a 30 seconds remaining on the timer, and we've built in a timer to automatically switch the stream off. So as soon as the timer reaches the 0 position, the stream will automatically be cut off, regardless if you're on mobile or on a large screen view. And you do have the ability to reset this timer. But as we can see now in a couple of seconds, this timer will automatically switch off. That time is obviously adjustable as a company-wide setting for your organization. Then also, you can see all the sensors are populated here, but we'll get back to these. You can see here, for instance, is a real-time odor from the device itself. I just want to go back to the other things we've worked on our platform. When I click on the unit, I can see the trips here for the last 24 hours the unit has done. And what you can also see immediately that looks different on our platform is the driver score rating. We have included the new, what they call the RAC, red, amber, green, which is an industry standard, especially in your oil and gas, to have this rating on the driver scoring to easily identify where problem areas are and where you can work on improving your driver behavior or your driver education. When I select a trip, for instance, again, we got the same thing here. We got your road speed and your speed graph available for you to view. But if I go into the trip detail itself, let's go look at one of the events that occurred. And this is actually taken this morning. Let me quickly see. Here's one. There was a mobile phone distraction. Again, the video is automatically uploaded from the device. It is what we call this, what Vernon is calling the edge computing stuff. So this is what's happening real time on the device. And we can see here this driver was using his mobile phone. You also have the ability to download this file directly from our platform, and you can then play this on your local player if you feel the need to do that, or send it to your different supplier or customer. We understand that's great. The edge computing is fantastic. The harsh events fantastic, but there's things that happen in the trip that is not event related. For instance, what if someone ran across the road and the driver wants to inform you or have that ability to show you that information? So what we've done is again, I'm going to try this live, so have the gods be on my side. We've built in the capability on every position where you got on the tracking platform, you can go and request a camera channel. So we can see here, there's a request is in progress for channel 1. So what we are doing is we are making a real-time call to this to the device, or as soon as the device is online. It will be queued if it's not online, and we send it to the device. We request a 15-second before that time frame and a 15-second after that time frame. And then the device will start uploading. You can see here, it's in the downloading process. So we're getting that camera data directly from the device. So this is completely revolutionary. So now you don't have to go to your vehicle, try and get footage from a certain time frame. You can now just directly from the platform, sit there and request a video from this time period. It's still downloading. Gods might not be on my side, but we can back to that one. You can also see here for every position, we update all the sensor values. So these are the values we obtain from the CAN module. So all of them, as you see, as they come into the platform, they get updated in the CAN module. My luck is not on my side on this one, guys. Sorry, let me. I can try another one. Let me just closer to our existing trip, but it shouldn't. No, I should maybe not go struggle with something that might not work. But anyway, we might get back to that one later. So
I was going to say,
we
it
show
definitely
then
works. I've
all
seen
the
it.
trips we can do with the device itself and the event video we can download. And we also now we can go look at the CAN data. What's the data that's coming into the platform? So we can see here, we can see the fuel usage for the device, but this is only for today. I can go look at some historic data for this device, for instance. Let me go look over the last week or so. And now I can see this device, this is all the areas the device traveled. On an instance, I can now go to this, all the sensors from the CAN, and I can immediately see what happened over this time period for this this sensor itself. So this one here is the accelerator position. That's your pedal or your pedal for your accelerator, or your coolant temperature. You can do these as well. Or the more critical one that everyone wants to know is your fuel. What is happening with my fuel? What you can see here is quite a few different graphs. You can see there's about 3 different colors in here. I can show them. I'll show you what these are. So because we work with fuel, and fuel we know moves around in your tank, we have developed an algorithm called fuel smoothing. And with the fuel smoothing algorithm, you will be able to filter out. You can see there's little spikes here. With this patented algorithm, we filter those spikes out, but we still are capable of detecting even small refills in your vehicle. So this algorithm sets us apart for not having all these excessive false alerts. That is real life scenario. The device will send us fuel via either analog or CAN, whichever format, but the fluctuation in data is always a reality. But with this new feature, we will be able to smooth these out. Again, some of these also, the ODO, this is real-time ODO from the dashboard. So now you can start using your service intervals actually based on real odor from the dash, and not having to get someone to go to a vehicle, lock down what is the actual odometer of your vehicle, and then run reports or schedule maintenance accordingly. Similar to your engine hours, you can also do the engine based on engine hours. Again, that is great. But we also need to be able to visualize information. So you can also use our dashboard. Let me just hide this one. We can use our dashboard, and we can see here for this vehicle, again, for this past week or so, how much time it's spent in transit mode, idling. Idling is always the fuel thief. So we always want to keep an eye on the idling one. And we can see here, this is real time. How long did this vehicle idle on these days? This data is a little bit skewed because we didn't hardwire this device in. So the idles does seem a little bit excessive here. Fuel usage, that's very accurate. So when it's driving, so you can also see how much fuel did this unit use per day and how much distance did it actually travel, the trip count versus distance. You can see there's alignment with these. And then also how long was the engine running over the period of time.
Rudy, sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to
Yes.
ask. I think one of the key things I'm being asked for at the moment is fuel theft. Now, you showed us that you can actually you can see where fuel was put into the vehicle. Are you able to show fuel theft as well? So if a vehicle had fuel siphoned out overnight or something like that?
Great question. Absolutely, we can do that. So if you go to report, luckily was, so we can do a fueling report. For instance, if you can see, you can run a report where a vehicle was fueled up, and you can see the historic data. So we, for instance, can see this vehicle had received 49 liters increase, and we can go to the map and see if this unit was actually at the gas station. However, with the decrease, we can do exactly the same thing. Also, when it goes with our fuel smoothing algorithm, you can detect these things better. This is going to be a little bit trickier to demonstrate because it's difficult to siphon fuel out of our car when we do it in real time. But we can just say about 5 liters, and we say about a minute. So 5 liters, that's about 1% of this vehicle's fuel tank. And let's see if we get any results here. there was a detection of 7 liters that was lost in the fuel tank. So yes, we can absolutely do that. This is now based on the report, but you can set these things up in real time as an alert. So I can create an alert as well for sudden decrease, for instance. When I make this alert, I can specify what is the quantity of fuel. So it's some areas that people are saying, but they want percentages versus liters. But if you got a dual tank, at which we also support, obviously, we can support dual tanks in the system, then you need to know what is the amount of liters that's siphoned. Because most of the time people, they will siphon, say, a 10 liters here or 5 liters there. Not a lot, not noticeable. But if you take the fuel consumption of that vehicle, that should be the consumption the vehicle takes about in an hour or an hour and a half. So we can detect these sudden drops in the fuel for the device itself.
Great.
Again, with all our other telematics data, so you can run a speed report, you can see how the road speed actually changes from the device versus the real vehicle speed. So we can see, for instance, this vehicle, there was a speed limit of 70. He traveled 71 kilometers per hour. We can go see on the map where exactly did this occur. So this is a stretch of this period. So this guy was really driving fast. We also have the ability to look at, say, sensor data. What if a temperature sensor changes? Or so we can see, for instance, this vehicle, I want to see what was my temperature, my coolant over the last week or so. I can quickly run a report like this, and it immediately will tell me all the data points and all the values received from the device itself. You can also, what you can do with this report is you can download this via Excel, and you can immediately just run the same this data on Excel and do your analytics, what you want to do on the platform there. Again, with the driver behavior, you can also run a driver behavior for this vehicle. I've run one in the past year. I can see here, based on my driver scoring, this guy has got a 65% average score. On our platform, we promote good driving. So green is obviously 100% on our side. But you can do this across your entire fleet. It's a little difficult to show just for one vehicle. You also, what you can do is when you set up your alerts. So all the alerts we work with is in real time. So as soon as it happens on the device or on the data it comes in, we can generate alerts on our platform. For instance, if I have a refuel alert, so here I've set up one, you can also set the amount of liters it must detect, and you can set a priority. So if there's what priority the attention must be given from the user. And you can also assign a template. So for instance, we looked earlier, if I look at my bell icon, there was a driver mobile phone usage. I can make an action item based on this because it's difficult to monitor everything. And with this, I can make mandatory fields that the user say, this camera footage was reviewed. And then you can see if the users actually action these items on the platform. Again, with this one, you can run reports as well on how the users action these items on our platform.
So this would be for like driver reviews with, your safety, health and safety operator within the fleet.
Exactly. Yes,
Okay.
100%. 100%. So that's just a little bit of insight of what we can do. Obviously, with all this rich CAN data coming in, there's a gazillion things we can do on our platform. And to go into detail on every single one is going to take me a fair amount of time. So I don't think that would be very practical. Let me see quickly if I was lucky enough with this one. Otherwise, it's going to be very disappointing. At last, it's downloaded. So there's the one that downloaded from the platform. And let me just, there it opens up. And I can download it also. Let's see why it's not opening up big. There we go, sorry. Finger trouble on my side. And it takes a little bit of time to refresh, but it's It's downloaded here as well. And it plays there on the player itself, or I downloaded here as well. So this was from this morning, 6:53.
So this could be used in a scenario where somebody's called in and said, one of your vans or one of your trucks hit my car this morning at 10 o'clock. You could quite easily just go into that date and time.
100%.
Brilliant.
We actually had a great example of one of our colleagues that have this camera in his car, where a kid was running across the road. The angle of that camera is just slightly bad, so it's difficult to see it. But that was a great example of how you can use this type of functionality on the platform.
Oh, good.
That is all from my side. Thank you, Vernon.
No worries. Let me go back to, I hope everybody can see my screen again. If you can, we are now going to move to the Q&A session. I'm just going to see if I can get the chat up, because I think all the questions are in the chat. I've just got to find my way to that. So if there were questions for Ivan and Travis, now's the time to answer them. Jenny, I can't seem to get the questions up on my screen, so I don't know if you can see them or read them out so Travis and Ivan can answer them.
Well, we've had a couple that we've responded to already here, Ivan. Ivan Vernon. I'll kind of run through them, but we've responded to individuals so everyone can see them. But one of the original ones was whether the camera is always awake, does this affect the battery consumption? What happens if the vehicle is standing for 4 to 5 days if the camera is still in an awake state? So the answer to this is yes, the camera is awake, but it is at a very low consumption rate, whilst it's still obviously monitoring any motion to trigger potentially two things, which would be the park safe mode, which you can enable, which means it will start recording after 4 to 5 seconds of any disturbance when the vehicle is stationary. And secondarily, obviously, to be able to look and review live if you wanted to. Now, what will actually happen though is it's running at a very low power consumption, but you can also set a secondary condition in the configuration to protect your battery in the case that it is running for too long. And you can set a lower trigger voltage to set, say, 12.2 volts. And if the the device detects that low voltage, it will automatically shut down the camera and put it into its super deep saving mode. So although when it is running and still awake, it is running at a slightly higher voltage or current consumption, to make sure we can enable the available services, it is still pretty low. But like I said, there is a backup as well, which means that we basically switch the device down if we go lower than whatever the threshold is set within the configuration.
Right.
That is questions. We have another one just about whether the DMS function requires a secondary camera. Yes, I think I explained in there. The primary camera is the forward-facing camera, which is integrated into the device. The secondary camera is not actually integrated into the device. It's actually a secondary connection, and it connects to the power loom. So it isn't connecting directly into the camera. It's of the power loom that goes into the camera. So that secondary camera is what would be, in this case, your DMS camera, which would be your driver-facing camera. And yes, that would be a secondary camera to provide you the DMS functionality. I
can see one that says, can the video be saved onto our own cloud server? Which I know the answer is yes. I don't know if you want to give a more technical explanation. Maybe that's one for Ivan.
Well, the difference is here something more. I would say that's Ivan and 3D tracking, because we know that we can point the device to go anywhere. Currently, obviously, it would be pointed towards the 3D tracking platform. So that's, I suppose, a question to Rudy and Ivan about, is there a way that somebody could have that data available to them directly rather than obviously on your platform?
Okay, on that one, for the video stored on our own cloud server, currently we host everything. So we host the entire intermediary service. It is something we can look at in future, but at this stage, it is not It's not something we're doing. You can obviously download the data and store it yourself if you feel that's the need.
Yeah.
Very good.
So there's just another one, just this is on live streaming as well. Question was, is the live streaming resolution size the same as the file recorded in devices, or can you set different resolutions for record live stream? The answer to that is the live streaming request, if sent to the device, is automatically reduces the resolution to 640 by 360 at 10 frames per second to reduce the data rate size of obviously the download. So that's not currently configurable. Any streaming request would be reduced to that. However, obviously the media saved on the actual device whilst it's recording, and obviously auto-uploaded in the event, obviously that there is an auto-upload requested, will be at the full resolution as per the configuration of the camera. So the configuration of the camera for those can be modified to high, medium, or low resolution, and frame rate can be set differently as well if you're trying to save time. Try and save any data for your monthly bills on your SIM costs.
Great, thanks, Trev. Can the
Yes.
CAN bus be disconnected by the driver? No, no, it can't. The unit is fitted inside the dash of the vehicle, almost like a legacy telematics unit would be. So they would have to strip the dash down and get to the unit itself and then disconnect it. So no, it's not an easy unplug for the driver. Just looking at other ones here. I don't know if you can see different ones to me, Trav.
Now that was the original one. Sorry, we've got some open ones.
There's an interesting one there from Rob Turner, which I probably want to know the answer to as well. I'm thinking yes, but I'm just thinking how we would do it. Can you do business and private mileage reporting? Rudy, I think that's coming from your platform. Could we trigger that from the camera?
Yes, can you hear me?
Ah, yes, Ivan, yeah, we can hear you, buddy.
Okay, 100%. Yeah, so we've gotten quite a few interesting platform questions during the presentation. I'll get to the one on business and private trips, but Jim Clasper asked if you can set alerts for the DMS alerts that come through the CV200. And yes, the clear answer there is you can on the 3D tracking platform set alerts for all inputs, all DMS inputs coming from the camera. And also in addition to that, you can create very detailed reports that of course can give you actionable insights for if you're a fleet manager trying to maybe look into more detailed what type of driver behavior you're getting from the cameras. In terms of the designating between business and private trips, you definitely can do that. On the platform, you can designate specific trip and trip cost types, and that allows you to then group your trips, whether through business or private. One of the other questions that was asked here, which is, I think, a very important question, is related to how long the platform stores video files. So currently 3D tracking does not delete any requested files, but however, in accordance with our fair use policy, if there's an excessive number of video files stored for a single user, we will consult with the user, of course, to remove older files. As you can imagine, video files can take up quite a lot of space, so we do store it permanently, but the answer to that is, of course, fair usage policy will apply. I think that was the last of the questions there, Vernon. I'm not sure if there's any more.
Yeah, there's a few different places. I'll just pick up one. Rudy, did you want to pick up this? I think you answered it already, which is how long does the platform store video and how much storage space can I get?
I see a couple of here. I see platform available in several languages. Yes, absolutely. Our platform is available in a vast amount of languages. You just let us know which one you want if it's not already there. Then where is our servers based? We are self-hosted in UK. So all our servers are in UK. We don't run off Amazon, so we're on-prem, as they call it. And then again, yes, with the storage, it's to note that when we do storage, as Ivan mentioned, at this stage, we don't do a hard enforce on how much video you store on a device or how long it will be stored on the device. We will take it at a case-by-case basis. If you go excessive, then obviously we'll have a chat with you and start either charging or removing the older data. In what video format saved on camera? As far as I know, everything is MP4. So if it's saved on the camera as well, and that's also what we request from the device. Can I produce invoices from each journey for individual driver reporting? I need to understand what you're saying, but from what I'm understanding, yes, definitely. So you can run for every trip or every driver. You can look at the driver, what did they do, and you can say how much kilometer did they run, or how much time were they driving, etc. That you can run on the report. Correct.
The other one, really sorry, was one I think we missed, which was just how long does the platform store video and how much data space can I get? That was from Sierra. It's all right. It's in a different. It's in the question and answer session rather than the webinar chat. So there's two different places.
Yeah, I think that one I've kind of already answered about how long it's stored on and how much data you can use on the platform. There is some other ones I can see here. Are you thinking of creating a B2C reseller app? I think just maybe reach out to me exactly what your requirements is there. We are in the process of looking at enhancing our platform, including our mobile app. Do you provide API to access video files on the camera remotely? At this stage, no. We don't. There's no API currently where you can request a video like I've done the 30-second request, but that's a great suggestion. I'll definitely take that into account to look at that.
James Slater also asked, is the equipment Thatcham approved? James, no, you have to get Thatcham approval on the device. I can tell you that we do have, no, sorry, I'm thinking of a different approval. You would need to put the entire solution through Thatcham to get an approval. That's done by you, the end user, not us as a business. So that's that one. Trying to see if there's any others. No, I don't think I can see any others. I don't know whether you can on the other chat, Trev.
Yeah, so I see one that's just come in that the question is, does the system or does the platform allow streaming to the mobile app? And the answer to that is yes. The 3D tracking platform mobile app does give you the same access you'd have on the live platform via your web browser. So you can definitely stream to your mobile device. The other question that I saw earlier was, is it possible to download more than 30 seconds on the requested video files? So, I mean, typically incidents occur within a matter of seconds, and I guess downloading extended footage such as 5-minute clips provides really limited value. However, we will continue to monitor and see if there's a need to adjust that. So for example, if in a mining environment, perhaps if a truck were to experience like a brake failure, the critical moments leading to that incident typically unfold within 10 to 15 seconds. So downloading anything more than 5 minutes, including the uneventful periods within the footage, it doesn't really provide any additional insight. So that 30 seconds really gives the fleet owner an opportunity to see what happened before and after an incident.
There's another one asking, can Queclink staff access your videos? No, we can't. The videos are all on either the 3D tracking platform, which obviously only you have access to. We certainly can't access any video footage. Yeah, I suppose to reiterate there, we have no connectivity with the 3D tracking platform. We just provide the hardware, which obviously they configure to point at their endpoints. So we have no interaction with the device after that point.
There's just one coming here. Does the device have an internal battery? Yes, it does. It does have an internal battery, so it will maintain power for a period of time after, obviously, primary power is disconnected. You will also, I mean, I say also, Rudy will know this. If primary power is disconnected, the device does also send messages to say that the primary power has been disconnected. So.
Don't know if there's any more on the other forum. I can only see what's on mine, and I think we've covered all of the ones.
I see 1 year is more hardware thing, but I know the answer, so I can give that one as well. Fernando is asking for fuel consumption. Do I need to buy another fuel sensor, or is it all through the CAN bus? If your vehicle is supported on the the list of supported vehicles, then you don't need to purchase anything additional. It will take it straight from the CAN bus.
Yeah.
I hope I answered that one correct, Travis?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have the CAN BLE 100, which is obviously what we use to get that data. So other than that, if it's sold as a single product, if you guys are obviously providing that solution in a single product, then yeah, there's no additional installation required.
There is another one there. I don't know. Forgive me if this has been answered. I don't think it has. Safra has asked, is there a way to estimate data consumption? He's saying unlimited data is quite expensive. What's a safe data allocation for a video telematics solution? I know this is something that you're working on with several of our clients, Trav. So maybe you can answer that one.
Yeah. Okay, so to give you a rough example of what I've got here, I'm just looking at some things that I've been working on. So if you imagine, typically you would have about a 30-second clip, as Rudy has mentioned and Evan has mentioned. That's kind of the standard which would be 15 post, 15 pre seconds due to the event. That running on a forward and rear-facing camera, or primary and secondary camera. And let's say at the maximum resolution, if you were experiencing, let's say, 10 events per day, so 10 separate events, whatever they are, I would estimate that would be around 1.5 gig a month, just to give you an example. But that is at the highest resolution and the highest frame rate. Okay, so that's kind of a guide, because depending on your frame rate for your forward and rear facing camera, depending on the resolution you choose within the configuration, which can both be adapted. So for example, if you were to opt for the high resolution and you decided that was too much for you, you could obviously lessen that with an agreement, obviously, with 3Dtracking to reduce that so that the size of the files will be reduced. To give you an example, at the lowest resolution for both, you're still looking at probably 0.5, just over 0.5 of a gig. So that's at 15 frames per second and the lowest resolution that you can select on that. So I'm giving you kind of the highest and the lowest examples there. So between 0.5 of a meg for 10 events per day to about 1.5 is a good rough estimate. And that would be the difference between the high, which would be 30 frames per second on the forward facing and 15 on the internal.
Thanks, Trav. Yeah, there's another one from Maxime asking Rudy, any way to turn the camera off when the ignition is off? I know the answer, but I'll let Rudy do that one.
The camera will turn off. That's a device setting. So as soon as the ignition turns off, you will be able to set that timer for when the camera must be switched off. Again, there's also a question here, the same line about the microphones. Can you switch on the microphone or off the microphone? Yeah. Again, same thing. It's a device setting, but we can also from our platform send that command directly to the device to disable that camera or that microphone, whichever setting you can do with the configuration tool or the programming tool. You can send those commands over our platform to the device to change the settings accordingly. Yes, on the data consumption, that is a very good question, and no one's going to give you a real answer because it depends on your operation. I've personally seen people per month use only 1 gig of data, and I've seen people use 12 gigs of data. It all depends how much you're going to use. So the one thing you need to keep in mind is there's one element, which is obviously the video data you request from the device, which is all your event-driven data, but then also the live streaming, and live streaming also takes a lot of data. So it's all those factors you need to take into account. So it's very difficult to say. I think the average is probably around about 3 to 5 gig a month, but it depends on your operation.
Yeah. And then Jason's thrown us a trick question. Does your internal camera have blurring capabilities for any people other than the driver within the vehicle for GDPR? At the moment, Jason, the answer to that is no. However, the DMS camera that we have has a very, very narrow field of vision, angle of vision. It's angled directly at the driver's face and takes obviously only the driver section of the vehicle into consideration. We are looking at blurring capabilities, both internal and external at the moment, but currently that's not something we offer.
And I suppose just one more from me, I did pick up on here. There was a saying whether there's any additional channels available. Have we looked at 3, for example? The response to that would be this device is only a 2-channel device, which is forward-facing and then a secondary channel or secondary camera attached. So Queclink as a business are currently developing our 3rd generation camera, the CV300, and this will be looking at having 4 channels. So we're obviously considering that moving forward due to the request, and as Vernon said earlier, you know, that change in market where the dash cam is becoming more prominent and having multiple cameras attached to that is something that we're working on. So obviously more memory capacity, capability, and also potentially things like blind spot detection is also potentially being added as an additional AI feature. So you'll be then looking at the DMS and ADAS and blind spot detection potentially available in that, because you can use obviously one of those channels as a side camera.
Great stuff. Don't know if you can see any other questions, Trav. I think we're up to all of them on mine, what I can see.
Well, the only can I identify drivers by biometrics? No, not currently. It is something that's being considered, but we're not currently doing facial detection at the moment. So driver ID currently on the camera can support what we call Bluetooth key fob detection, but no biometrics at the moment. And sorry, no, Craig, no fingerprint either at this point in time. But there are things that we're looking at the moment, whether we can support something like that.
Okay.
I think that's it for the moment.
Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, no, hang on. There's a few more. No, that's been covered already. On average, how long does it take for a full installation? Tricky one now. Trav, you've probably got a better idea of installation time. Or Rudy, you've fitted one or two. Trav, I know you have. What would you say that average installation time was? Because it's quite straightforward. The other thing to probably mention on this, which we didn't talk about, was we actually offer the camera with an OBD power loom. So, and it's purely power only, but you can literally sell the camera as an out-the-box solution. You could ship it to your customer with an OBD power loom. They simply plug that into the OBD socket and the camera's up and running. So we've got insurance companies that are looking at that specifically. And also a lot of our customers in the States use that because installation there is incredibly expensive and difficult. So they tend to ship the camera out with an OBD power loom that the customer can then self-fit. So I hope that answers that question.
Sorry, I'll just touch again Paul's question, which is, does the second camera plug into the device itself? No, it plugs in down the power loom. So there's a secondary connection that comes off the power loom for where you plug in that secondary camera to.
Eddie's asking, he arrived late, he missed the presentation. Can we share it via email? We can, Eddie, but the rules are if you were late to the meeting, you have to buy the first round of drinks. So you buy the round of drinks, we'll send you the email. No problem. No problems. I'd love to come to Miami.
See you there.
Yeah, we're all coming. That's it. Job done. Okay, I think that's probably all the questions we've got at the moment. If there's any more in the next couple of seconds, we'll answer them. But if not, I'm going to flick onto the next slide because that's got all of our contact details. So if anything wasn't covered on this webinar that you want to get an answer to, please feel free to reach out to us or 3D Tracking on the email addresses on your screen now. Going back to Eddie's current offer of coming to Miami, absolutely, the video is going to be available. We'll make sure that anybody who wants it can get a copy of it.
I have one more just to throw at you because Paul's just thrown something on there. I don't know, Rudy, and I apologize. Have you integrated the key fob usage?
The Bluetooth, yes, absolutely no problem. With the Bluetooth driver identification will be no problem on the platform.
Perfect, yeah. So what I was going to say to answer to Paul's question, he said, is the panic button on the device or separate? There is a panic button on the back of the device, so that's direct, but you can actually integrate the key fob as well and utilize the panic button on the key fob, which can basically be configured to do the same thing and work as a panic button. I think that was it. Sorry, I just saw that come in.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No problem at all. Well, I think that probably we've run a little bit over, but that's great. There were lots of really good questions and lots of interaction, which is always good. So I guess all that remains for me to do is to thank not only Rudy and Ivan from 3D Tracking, but all of you out there, wherever you are in the world, who joined us for this webinar. Really appreciate your time, really appreciate the input as well. And we would love to chat to you more about the camera or the platform. Please feel free to reach out to us. You can find us on LinkedIn. The addresses are on the screen in front of you. But thank you all very much for joining us and have a good day, evening, morning, or afternoon further after this. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.